sanctuary for you.
You may be seated. Truly beautiful. In preparation for our talk today, I came across this beautiful poem by Rabindranath Tagore, Joy. And joy is everywhere. It is in earth's green covering of grass, in the blue serenity of the sky, in the reckless exuberance of spring, in the severe abstinence of gray winter, in the living flesh that animates our bodily frame, in the perfect poise of the human figure, noble and upright, in living, in the exercise of all powers, in the acquisition of knowledge, in fighting injustice. Joy is there, everywhere. I love how music and poems can transport us. And I love gleaning wisdom from the Bible, these teachings. The last series, the Beatitudes, enriched my life in many ways. And this Fruits of Spirit, which is a passage in Galatians. Now, it's a long one, and we're using the Message translation. Now, the Message Bible was translated by Eugene Peterson, and it's in common American English. It's just easy to read and understand. It doesn't have the poetry of the King James Version, but you can read the poetry and then you can read the message and know what it says. So I've printed the entire passage that we're going to be reflecting with this month so that you can read it entirely. I'm not going to read it during the service, but it's Galatians chapter 5, 16 through 26, and I love this Message translation. And we have available for everyone a bookmark that has the fruits of Spirit and what the fruits are for. It's right on the entry table out there, so pick up a bookmark if you like. Our talk title today is Fruits of the Spirit, Exuberance for Life. Now, we've identified a fruit to go along with each of our cornucopia fruits, as there's 9 fruits, the fruits of Spirit, and the mango. I love mangoes. In fact, mango is my favorite fruit. And having lived in Hawaii for 20 years, I loved when it was mango season, which is kind of April to October. And there's nothing quite like a Hayden mango. And our home, there were 3 very mature Hayden mango trees in the backyards of the neighbors next to us, but they didn't like mangoes. So it's an unlimited supply. Like from April to October, on a mango tree, you can have a full-grown mango, a baby mango, and a blossom all at the same time. So it's unlike an apple tree, which blossoms all together and all the fruit come out together, where the mangoes kind of take their time and keep providing for a long time. Anyway, when you peel the mango and cut the flesh and eat it, you're transported to a botanical wonder. It's like eating all the most beautiful floral scents you've ever experienced. Freesias and jasmines and roses, and just think of any flower you'd like to eat that essence, it's in a mango. And it tantalizes all of your flavors, and it's a pure joy experience. And it's very messy and very juicy. You have to eat it over the sink or cut it up and eat it out of a bowl. But I love mango, and I love that it can point to that exuberance for life, that opportunity to experience life as it's meant to be. So we'll place this in the cornucopia as we'll continue to add our fruits in there over this series. Now, I start with this writing from a Unity minister, Mary Kupferle. Joy belongs to you, whether you know it or not. It is yours now to discover, to use, to exercise, and to bring into expression. Now, that's the key. Because what good is an ability, a talent, a power, a faculty if we don't use it? In truth, electricity is there, but if we don't ever flick the switch, it's not in use. And its best use is in use. Now, of course, electricity has dangers to it. I don't think of a single danger with joy. We can work with it. We can nurture it. We can grow it and bring it into use. Because part of joy is identifying how we can grow it, how we can install it, how we can share it. And so I turn to the wisdom of poet laureate James Dilt Freeman. He says, to enjoy things is not to possess them or to be possessed by them, but to use them. The joy of anything is the use of it. The joy of anything is to take it and make it into something more. Now, we know what it's like when we hold on desperately to something. It almost squeezes the life out of that something that we may cherish dearly. But if we're holding on to it, how can it live? How can it express itself? It's not a problem to have things or a car to drive or a home to live in, but we don't want to be constricted by it. We want to use it and allow it to support our way of living as spiritual beings having exuberance for life. And when we're shackled by material things or emotions, it holds us back. It pushes us down, and it makes it uncomfortable. It makes it hard to feel that exuberance for life. And what I'd like to share is that anything that we truly love to do, anything that either comes easy to us or when we're doing it, we don't want it to stop. And it's different for each of us. For us, being in the garden is like that. Or sitting in a beautiful garden is like that. Or playing music or writing music is like that. And that joy, when shared, propagates joy. So that even someone driving by that beautiful garden picks up on that joy. We don't know how it will extend out, but it will. Because joy begets joy. Light begets light. Love begets love. And fear begets fear. And when we're held down by possession of something, we're going to be that place until we let go of it. May Rowland, a powerful woman, I love the women of Unity, says, even in the midst of gloom, drop a thought of joy into your mind, and you will begin at once to get a joyous reaction. Now, I am deeply human, no spiritual giant, because just this week I experienced the doom and the gloom. That place where we go into that pity pot where everything's not right and we're feeling sad, sorry for ourselves. Anyone else ever been there? If you're above it, hallelujah for you. I'm not there yet. But when we get to that place, all we need do is drop a thought of joy into that pity pot. And the reaction is joy. Now, it's not going to be fireworks of joy. It's going to rumble. Think of our insides as a great big pool. And when we drop that joy in, it ripples out in our experience. And it does. So when I'm in that place of not aware of how good life is, I'm counting all the things that aren't quite right and feeling very righteous about it. If I change that thought to a thought of joy, I can begin to climb out of that hole. And then, with perspective, I can see that that was just a cloud passing through me. Not me, but just a cloud passing through me. And clouds happen. They come and they go, yes? It's a good thing to remember. Continuing Mayrow, she says, every one of us can learn to make joy a habit. Now, we can have a habit with our fear and our worry, especially if we have children. What if we were infected by the habit of joy? Gave as much attention to our joy as anything else. Allow joy to be an informed part of our journey. Since we know that joy is always present, it's part of our beingness, the joy of being alive, the joy of being one with the divine essence, the Christ consciousness that informs us and gives us everything that we need. Exuberance for life is owning that truth, identifying with that truth, and then allowing that to be how we do our living. Step into life and share with others. It's no small act. In wrapping up this talk, I turn to the wisdom of Martha Smock. Now she says, joy is the unexpected, often the surprising discovery of anyone who lives close to God, who makes his every thought, his every act, his every breath a prayer to God. Now, this doesn't come much as a surprise of those who attend our services regularly because it seems to come to this truth each time. It's an inside job. And it's unexpected. We're sitting there innocently, meditating, praying, having breakfast, enjoying our life, living, getting out of bed, taking a shower, taking a long bath, or going for a walk. And all of a sudden, we're infused with the energy of spirit. This is that zeal and enthusiasm that October is famous for in its 12th power. This is part of our journey to come home to the truth right within us. And being one with God, being one with knowing that that joy is always with us, then just as last week, with love and affection for others and exuberance for life, we have operating instructions. And we can live our lives from that knowing. And then miracles happen. Because when people who are on the journey of awakening to their oneness with God have a life beyond their dreams. I invite you to say yes to God, saying, yes, God, lead me, guide me, open me up to be a vessel to share joy in the world, and that will create the world we want to live in. Thank you.
Step out on the water, release your faith. Every step is stronger. Step out on the water.